So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar series, where we have the privilege of being joined by Mr. Padmakar Roy for today. I am Ravinder Kandari, your host for today's session. The topic of today's session is finding and evaluating a startup idea. So, Mr. Padmakar, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing well. Thanks for asking. So, we can
Yeah,
do like this. We can start with our basic introduction and then we can take this session forward. So, you can just go forward on that.
sure, sure.
Okay.
So, hi everyone. My name is Padmakar Roy, but you can also call me Paddy if you want. And I'm a co-founder of my company called Sprint Labs. At Sprint Labs, we help startups validate their product ideas in 5 days, which generally take weeks or months to validate that idea. So basically, it was developed at Google by Jack Knapp, which was initially used for Google internally to validate their ideas. Further, it was started being used by Google venture startups for validating their ideas. So basically, we what we do is in 5 days, starting from Monday to Friday, or starting on Monday, where we define a clear problem statement, going to Friday, where we test that idea with 5 users and validate it. So that's the short
Okay.
description of it.
Thank you
Yeah,
for the introduction. So basically, I
mhm,
will start with my name itself and my company name itself. So my name is Ravinder Kandari. My company name is RaiseMoney. What we are doing that we are the India's finest startup platform where we are working to create a global communities of founder and investors simultaneously. So how we are doing that? For the founders, we are helping them to raise the funds, mentoring them, and the other basic things that is required to sustain the startup ecosystem. Now, if we talk about the investors, we are helping them to find out the right startup to invest their hard-earned money and giving them a platform for an opportunity where they can reach out us for the mentoring the more startups. Right? Right, I already said that the privilege to have Mr. Padmakar with us. So, Mr. Padmakar, now I will just introduce few questions to you. That is
sure.
settlement on that. So my first question which I have in my mind is that let's suppose if I have or any entrepreneur or a startup, early stage startup founder have an idea in my mind. What is the first thing that person should be need to do?
So first of all, the privilege is mine. Now,
That's just
now coming to to your question. So whenever the idea comes to your mind, or you start thinking about, I should start working on it. First thing you should be doing is self-evaluating the idea first.
okay.
Okay, so how do you do that? So first of all, when try to convert that idea into a question, into a problem statement that you are trying to solve through that idea. So it's easy to say that you have to convert it into a problem statement, but again, it's when you go sit down and try to convert into a problem statement, you will find it difficult to again to find a clear problem statement. So how do you do that? So one of the ways is to think of the idea as a product and think about the user, what the user will do, use that product to achieve a particular goal. So what goal will the user achieve by using that particular goal? So start with that part. So once you have a clear goal in mind, okay, the user will achieve this clear goal through my product. Okay, now think about that, how the user is currently achieving that goal. Okay,
Okay.
and now when you think about how the user is currently achieving the goal, think deeper and try to find out what are the pain points or the problems that the user is going through in achieving that goal currently without your product. So that set of pain points form your problem statement.
Okay.
Okay, so
And
that is yeah,
thank
yeah.
you for the answer. So very
Mhm.
interesting answer you have given to us. So my second
Yeah.
question is that what if I don't have people around me, or you can say a mentor around me in my network who face the problem? Like what? How can I get the mentorship on that?
So before I answer this question, I'd like to add few more points here, so
Sure.
that way the answer to this question will become clearer.
Okay.
So let's suppose you have defined a clear problem statement. Now the second thing that you should be doing is that you should find answer to two questions. That okay, this is the problem statement. Have I faced question number one is, have I personally faced this problem? Okay. Question number two is, do I know someone in my family, in my friend circle, who have personally faced this problem? Okay. If the answer to both of them is yes, then it's a very good sign, and then it's a sign to move ahead. Okay, so you have faced the problem, and or someone in the family has faced the problem, or both. In both the cases, that's a good sign. Now, what you do is, at this stage, you can go back to your idea again and see that, okay, this problem statement, does your idea clearly solves this problem statement, or does it need a little modification? In that case, you can ask your, again, the family friends who have faced this problem to further ask how they faced, try to inquire about the problem at a deeper stage, and then try to elaborate the problem, and then ideate on the problem, and refine your idea. Okay.
Okay.
Now, your question. So what happens if I don't have family or friends in my circle who face this problem? Now, this is a second point, second stage where, and this is a big red flag. This is a big red flag telling you that probably you should not be working on this idea. Because listen, what do you call a thought? Okay, a thought which you have not experienced personally, or which you have not observed someone experiencing. What do you call that thought? You call it imagination.
Correct.
Right. So a problem that neither you have faced nor you know somebody in your circle who has faced, that means you have used your imagination to find that problem. So it's an imaginative problem.
Okay.
Right. So, and you don't build startups on an imaginative problem. You build
Correct.
startups on real problems. So
Correct.
that's a big red flag. And also there are problem. I'll also tell you two problems with this kind of ideas. What happens in this kind of ideas? First, the problem number one is that when you don't, or you have not faced this problem personally, or you don't know someone who has faced the problem personally, you will not be able to understand the nuances of the problem.
Okay.
Okay, and that will be a big roadblock in your building your product. So again, you'll be imagining, okay, this might be nuances, and then you build features based on those nuances, and then it's just, you are just imagining in your head, and you're making that. So you come out with a product after some time, and you see that, okay, it is not working. The users don't want it. So that is problem number one. Number two is, when you launch your product, it will be difficult to find your initial set of users, and they're very important. They're very important because these initial set of users are those users who will recruit more users for you, right? And who will also, that is one thing that they will do. And the second thing that they will do is that they will help you in refining your product, in taking your product towards a product market fit point. So yeah, so this is the problem when you don't face or don't find people in your circle who are facing that problem.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Thank you so much for wonderful
Okay.
explanations. So my third question is that, if I'm having an idea, how do I get to know that my idea is a good enough?
Okay, so you to know that whether your idea is good enough or not, first of all, I'll like to recommend a video by Y Combinator. If you've heard of Y Combinator, Y Combinator is one of the most well-known startup accelerator in the world.
Okay.
So there is a very good video around this, and I recommend your viewers to watch that video. But I'll summarize it for you.
Okay.
So first, there's 6 to 7 points that you should evaluate of your idea for. First, you should ask that whether your idea is whether you are a founder market fit. So there is a product market fit. This is called founder market fit. What do you mean by this? You founder market fit means that is your founding team, including yourself, is fit enough to work on this idea. Okay, I'll take an example here. So there is a startup called Nephro Plus.
Okay.
So Nephro Plus is a company which is into dialysis. So what they do is they have dialysis centers in various hospitals around India, and they provide dialysis to patients whose kidneys don't work. Okay. And one of the founder of Nephro Plus, Mr. Shah, I don't remember his full name. So he has been himself a dialysis patient. Okay. So that means he understands the problem space well. So founder market fit means you should either on the personal front or on the professional front should understand the problem space well. If no one in your founding team understands has personally or professionally experienced that problem space well, then it probably is not a good founder market fit idea. Okay, so that is one. Second is market size. So for a good startup idea, the market size should be around $1 billion. But I'll not talk about numbers here. I'll more talk about how to see a market size. There are two kinds of things here. One, in terms of market size, one is the current market size. So a good idea is one which has current market size, which is bigger. Another good idea is is a market size which is smaller right now, but it is growing rapidly. Like a few years ago, let's say 7-8 years back, crypto was a good market because although it was very small then, but it was growing very rapidly, and it's a multi-billion-dollar market right now. So that is number two. Number three is seriousness of the problem. How serious is the problem? Okay.
Yeah.
And whether that how do you define the seriousness? That the problem is acute and there is no alternative to that problem. So one of the examples for that is Zepto. So in Zepto is solving a problem which we all of us face. Although there is a big basket and all other platforms who can deliver groceries at your home, but there are many times in our home when we're in the morning we want certain item which is not there at the home and we want it immediately, so we have to go down and or to the nearest shop and go and buy it. And since it's morning, you are getting late, you don't have time, you want it quick, and when you go to the shop there is a waiting time there also. So that was actually acute problem. Okay, and also there was no alternative solution right at that time. Okay, so Zepto solved that problem. So that is an example of seriousness of the problem.
Okay.
The fourth one is competition. See, the competition is many founders or many people think that competition is not good, but it is very counterintuitive in that sense that competition having a competition is very good for a startup, because when there is a competition, and when I mean competition means not like competition like Google or Microsoft. I mean smaller companies, they are there, but they're a competition. So in that case, a competition means that your problem is well validated. There is a problem for sure. Okay, so that is why competition is good. So having a competition is good for a startup idea. Fifth is your personal experience. Again, we already talked about whether you personally or professionally have faced it or not, or someone that has faced it or not. And sixth is did it recently become possible? Okay, okay. Before I tell you the sixth point, I must tell you that these points that I am telling that you don't have to have check marks in all of them. Okay. Yeah. If you have check marks in 2 to 3 of them, it's a good it's sign of a good idea. Okay. So what do you mean by recently became possible? So I'll give you an example of an idea that I was working on that didn't work. It was a health tech problem. Mm. So basically, the idea was to develop a product which will gather patient reports from various databases, and based on those patient records, an AI will be built, and that AI will act as an assistant to doctor, which will uh, answer to doctor as a patient himself or herself. Now the problem here was that the databases, even if a hospital would share your database, it was very difficult to import that data into your system, because every hospital database is based on a different software. So it's very different. It's not so easy to build one single API which will bring all the data from all other kinds of softwares. Okay, so it was difficult, but uh, there was a guideline by Government of India that was rolled out in 2021, which suggests hospitals to use softwares which have the facility of interoperability. Interoperability means data can be easily imported to some other databases without much difficulties. So now, when I started, it was not was technically a feasible thing to do. But after this, it has now become a feasible thing to do. So that is an example of recently became possible.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so these are some of the examples to find that whether your idea is good enough or not.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the wonderful explanation. I love the way how you describe each and every point. So my last question to summarize this series of the webinar is that what are the most common mistakes founders should avoid making?
Okay, so most common mistakes. So first of all, one of the mistake, it is popularly known as SISP, SISP.
Okay.
So what is the full form of SISP? Is solution in search of a problem.
Okay.
Okay. So many times like there was a trend when the crypto was or blockchain was very famous. Now is a trend then when AI is very famous, right? So so people, how do founders start? Okay, this is AI. I'm going to make a product with AI. No, so that is how they start. So basically, you come up an idea, and now you look for problems. Okay, what this idea can solve what kind of problem. So that is a very wrong approach to do.
Correct.
Technology is just an enabler. You should first find a problem,
That's correct.
and then try to find a solution, and then you can when you have a solution in mind, then you can think of what technology can I use to implement this solution. And here I would also like to tell you that if someone generally when people want to start up, they look for ideas. How do they look for ideas? They start thinking, what ideas should I work on? What could be a good idea? Things like that. But the approach rather should be, rather than imagining or thinking about ideas, your approach should be observation. Try to observe the problems around you. Okay, so try to identify the problem, and once you have identified a good problem, then you ideate on that problem. How should I solve this problem? Then
Okay.
that's a good idea. That's a right approach to find startup ideas. So that was one of the common mistakes. Second common mistake is not validating ideas. Many founders, although it is very very spoken about in social media and offline also, that valid you should always go for validation first, before working on an
Correct.
idea. But still, There are founders who don't validate ideas early, and the reason is, ideas are, create a lot of hope inside you. You love your ideas. It gives you a lot of hope, and you don't want to go to the user to validate that idea, because somewhere there is a fear that the user might not understand the idea,
Correct.
and that fear shatters your hope. So it's a very subconscious thing, but that is what many founders do. But there are founders who overcome this fear and validate that, and they come out as winners, right? So that is number two. Second is, the third one is taking too long to, too long to launch a product or validate a product.
Okay.
When you take too long to say validate a product, uh, suppose you took 3 months, or four, or say you have you have a cash in bank which has a runway of 6 months, and you took 4 to 5 months to launch a product in trying to build a perfect product.
Mhm.
So you took 5 months, and after 5 months, when you launch it, you're not able to find users. There's many problems. You get feedbacks from users, but you have left people. You have only 1 month of runway left. So it's the time is not enough for you to iterate the product, and improvise the product and give it back to user again to use it. You don't have enough time. So that is one of the problem in being very late in launching your product or validating your product. So this happens when when you try to build a perfect product,
Okay.
which is not right word right approach. You should always try to launch a product as quickly as possible. I'll give you a very famous example. It's a very famous example. It is used at a lot of places. So there was some research done where in some university where there was a pottery class, and the class was divided into two batches. One of the batches was given a task to build a perfect pot, and the other was given to build a lot of pots. Okay, so so the batch was who had the goal of building a lot of pots. They didn't have any pressure of building a perfect pot. They just started building and building and building, and making pots and pots and pots and pots. When the team which had to build a perfect pot took a lot of time in planning in other things, and try to make a perfect pot. By end of the timeline, the team which built a better pot was the one which uh, had to build a lot of pots, because what happened there is that they kept building pots. They started with bad ones. They learned, okay, this is the mistake I made, and then they build a better one, then they build a better one, then they build a better one, and they improved that way. And the other guys, they were just planning and trying to make a perfect pot. Uh, They they couldn't make mistakes and couldn't learn from them.
Correct. Correct.
So that is these are there are many other problems, but these are the major problems that founders make.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering all the questions. I think like it's a perfect way of ending this session. And it's a pleasure to have you here. I believe that my audience will also love the way you explain each and every points. So yeah, that's
I
it.
hope so.
Thank you for your time one more time. Bye bye.
Yeah, it was great talking to you. You too
Likewise.
have a great day. Bye.
Okay.